Jelly Roll, a talented country singer, reached his heaviest weight of more than 500 pounds. After beginning a weight loss and exercise routine, he has brought his weight down by almost half of that amount. It was revealed by the singer that he is currently the same size as he was when he was in middle school, and he is not yet finished. If you want to know his next surprising goal, keep reading. Country star discusses her experiences in losing weight. It would appear that Jelly Roll is capable of achieving absolutely anything he sets his mind to. Despite the fact that he had spent decades in and out of jail, he was resolute in his goal to become a successful musician and clean up his life. The two objectives were accomplished by him. After beginning his career as a rapper, he has since established himself as one of the most popular country musicians in the world. The tour that he is now on with Post Malone will continue until September. The criminal life that Jelly Roll led before to his rise to popularity, as well as his marriage to Bunny XO, have no secrets for him. 2016, the year of the couple's wedding. Despite the fact that Jelly Roll already has children from prior marriages, he is incredibly eager to have children with his present wife. The year 2022 marked the beginning of his mission to lose weight, which was motivated by his desire to begin having more children and to live long enough to witness them grow up. Jelly Roll, much like many members of Generation X and older members of the millennial generation, spent his childhood watching professional wrestling back when it was known as the World Wrestling Federation, WWF. Hulk Hogan, a great wrestler, passed away suddenly this month, causing the community to mourn a significant loss. The WWE is now known as the WWE. When Jelly Roll was younger, he had an ambition of becoming a professional wrestler. This dream came before his dream of becoming a singer. This weekend, he was able to make that goal come true at SummerSlam. Additionally, he pairs up with Randy Orton to compete against Logan Paul, a popular YouTuber, and Drew McIntyre, a professional wrestler. In 2025, SummerSlam will take place over the course of 2 nights, on Saturday, August 2, and Sunday, August 3, respectively. Peacock is the only station that broadcasts it. This week, Jelly Roll made an appearance on the What's Your Story podcast, which was hosted by Stephanie McMahon, who was a former co-CEO of WWE. Over the course of his struggle to lose weight, he was candid. It was disclosed by the artist that he had returned to the same weight that he was when he was in middle school. Additionally, he disclosed 2 stunning new objectives. Jelly Roll reveals her unbelievable new objective following her weight loss. Before the SummerSlam competition, Jelly Roll hopes to have shed an additional 100 pounds. After he has achieved his objective of losing weight, he has set his sights on appearing on the cover of Men's Health magazine the following year. However, that is not the only impression he has of his future self. In a surprising disclosure that he said would make his manager despise him, he disclosed that he has a desire to pose shirtless on the cover of a magazine in the year 2027. Apparently, Jelly Roll is not even close to being prepared for it at this point. As a result of his weight loss, he intends to undergo surgery in order to remove the superfluous skin. However, he remains resolute in his goal to showcase his weight loss on the cover of a magazine during the next 2 years. There is a good chance that he will accomplish that objective, as well as any other one he sets for himself. The scale didn't creak. It sang, one of those tiny little digital hums, like a microwave announcing the end of a minute. Jelly Roll glanced down and laughed. Not a triumphant, arms-to-the-sky laugh, but something smaller, rounder, more private. The kind of laugh you give when a number isn't just a number anymore. It's a yearbook photo, a bus route, a cafeteria you swore you'd never revisit. Middle school, he said out loud, as if he had to hear the words to believe them. Middle school. The mind does strange algebra when the body finally lets it. Add a routine, subtract a habit, divide your day by the hour, and suddenly the sum is a version of you that feels familiar. That's what he meant when he told Stephanie McMahon on her new podcast that he was about to be under 300 pounds for the first time since middle school. It wasn't swagger. It was a timestamp, the body's way of circling a date on the calendar and whispering, "You made it back here." He didn't get coy about how long it took or why it mattered. "I got fat really, really young," he said. "I was over 300 pounds coming out of middle school." Then the goal that made the room exhale with him. "I'm going to be under 300 pounds for the first time since middle school the night I walked to that ring at SummerSlam." He said it the way he sings a hook, clear, specific, unafraid to let hope sound like a promise. If you followed Jelly Roll's arc, from Nashville underdog to award show fixture, the headline version of this story is simple. He started around 540 to 550 pounds. He shed nearly 200, and he's not done. The people close to him say the journey began in 2022, when longevity stopped being a concept and became a decision. The people profile lines it up cleanly. He's down almost 200 pounds from roughly 540, with a target that keeps him honest and a timetable that keeps him kind. He's talked in plain words about food addiction, about the slippery overlap between comfort and craving, about the days where victory is just not quitting. None of that makes a flashy montage, but it's the part worth believing. Middle school, though, that's a different animal. Middle school is a jersey that never quite fit. It's your first pair of adult-sized sneakers, the guidance counselor who always kept the door open, the health class poster telling you a version of the truth you were too busy surviving to hear. For Jelly Roll, middle school was also a number he learned to carry like a backpack full of bricks. Saying he's the same size he was back then isn't a boast. It's reclamation. It's telling the past, I didn't outrun you. I organized you. The timing makes the milestone feel cinematic. In early August, he made his WWE in-ring debut, teaming with Randy Orton in a SummerSlam spectacle that could have been written by 12-year-old Jason DeFord and stuffed in a shoebox under his bed. He didn't just want to show up. He wanted to show up lighter, literally. The vow he made on McMahon's mic wasn't a fad diet's fever dream. It was a pro wrestling fan's love letter to a childhood promise. By the time those lights hit me, I'll be carrying fewer years on my bones. If you trace the breadcrumbs back, the work looks less like a miracle and more like a blueprint. First came the walking, laps that turned into miles, miles that turned into race bibs. He signed up for a 5K in 2024, knowing the internet would have jokes, and did it anyway. He said he was probably down 70-something pounds just from training, which is the kind of humble math that sneaks up on you until one day you realize the distance isn't killing you. The distance is paying you back. By the spring of 2025, he was telling anyone who asked, the plan is 250 pounds, because that's the line for a few bucket list dreams, like skydiving with his wife. Ambition, but with a harness. Then came the food, not as an enemy. He's too southern and too honest for that, but as a system. Jelly Roll's nutrition coach and on-the-road chef Ian Larios didn't reboot him with monk bowls and lectures. He built a daily menu that tasted like Jelly's life, and still did the numbers. Protein-forward remixes of diner favorites, 2 solid meals, and a snack that punched above its weight, bone broth gravies instead of cream, cashew-based cheese, that still made you feel like you were getting away with something. It's not pretty food, it's working food. And it's the reason he can do this on tour buses, in green rooms on days when a nice thought would otherwise lose to a bad habit. If you want the simple version, he laid it out himself: move more than yesterday. Eat smarter than last week. Forgive faster than you used to. The Whiskey Riff roundup of his podcast appearance captured the part that gets lost in before and after carousals. The way clarity sneaks up on you once you start sleeping, sweating, and eating like a person who plans on being here a while. More mentally focused, clear-headed, more energetic, he said. Not gin brag energy, living energy. The kind that buys you an extra hour with your kid, an extra verse when your voice thought it was done. That's the surface. The underneath is messier and nobler. He's admitted it's not just about scale math. It's about a brain that used to reach for sugar the way it reached for other escapes. It's about unlearning the belief that joy has to come with a side of guilt. It's about telling the orbit around you, fans, family, friends, that you're changing the engine mid-flight, and there will be days you stall. When people asked him to put language to it, he didn't polish. He called it a battle with food, not some chill dalliance he could end with a juice cleanse and a sponsored hoodie. Battles are fought in daylight, and won at 11:43 p.m. in a Hampton Inn, when the vending machine glows like Vegas. He's not pretending otherwise. The number today feels like a destination only because of how many detours he survived. A decade ago, he was a rapper with a rap sheet who learned the hard way that no one hands you a second act. You rehearse it until your friends get sick of hearing it, and then you rehearse it again. He cleaned up. He married the woman who understood the difference between spotlight and sunlight. He found a way to sing pain without bathing in it. Most of us carry our old names like aliases. He turned his into a brand that shared the secret. I'm soft because I'm strong, not instead of it. And now there's a new set of goals on a fresh whiteboard. He told McMahon he wants to be on the cover of Men's Health by 2026, and this is him, not a PR flag talking, do a shirt-off cover by 2027. Say it sounds bold. He'd agree, but he said it anyway, because the only way to turn tomorrow into a finish line is to pencil in a date and figure out the route as you go. Part of that route, he's admitted, will include skin removal surgery. Excess skin is a real annoying dignity-stealing tax, the quiet price of big wins. I'm gonna have to get my skin cut, he said, not because of vanity, but because it's interfering with daily life. Practical, not performative. Even the same size as middle school line gets misunderstood if you don't hear it in his register. It's not a victory cigar. It's a confession that the body remembers things you think it forgot. For some people, weight is a weather pattern. It moves in and stays. You don't shame a storm into stopping. You install better windows. The success isn't that he found the sun. It's that he learned how to live when the forecast changes. There's another reason the milestone hit so hard. He said it out loud before he crossed it. That's not how we usually play the game. We hide our goals until we can weaponize them as proof. Jelly Roll did the opposite. That's exclusive here, he told McMahon, making a real-time wager with himself and the millions of ears on the other end. Hold me to it, he was saying. Not if I screw up today. Hold me to the version of me that gave you this date. That's accountability, not masochism. And since the podcast landed, country and wrestling outlets have amplified the moment. Not as a gotcha, but as a communal timer. Clocks are running. Cheer until it rings. Some context matters because it would have been easy to do this the quiet way. He's famous enough to disappear for 8 months, hire a private chef, a performance lab, and a social media manager who only posts sunsets until the jawline arrives. But he wanted to do it publicly. I did this publicly for a reason. I want to be honest about my struggles, he said earlier this year. Honesty in this case means you watch him win in fits and starts. And he watches you watch him. It's scarier. It's also why strangers bring him their own step counts and grocery lists like offerings. There's a scene I can't get out of my head. Jelly Roll in a fluorescent lit hotel gym. The kind with a treadmill that squeaks and a set of dumbbells that jumps from 10 to 30 with no mercy in the middle. He's in a hoodie, head down, no entourage, no camera guy. 10 minutes of walking becomes 15. 15 becomes 20. He doesn't post it. He doesn't have to. That's the secret most transformation stories forget to say out loud. The most important reps do not count for anyone but you. And yet, public moments fuel him too. He told McMahon he weighs in once a month, not to obsess but to measure. He likes a scoreboard the way football kids like fourth quarters. It tells him whether the effort translated. Monthly weigh-ins are like turning on the lights in your own head. Okay, that's where we are. Now what do we do next? The next lately has been louder. Late-night TV bits where he powerbombs self-doubt into the floor. Charity moments that remind him you don't have to be light to be lit from the inside. A SummerSlam entrance that will live forever in some kid's brain the way Shawn Michaels lived in his. What he eats is gossip at this point, because it's weirdly comforting to know about a famous person's breakfast. Lorios has walked us through it enough times that you can basically grocery shop off the internet. Protein-led diner bowls, comfort food poutines redesigned like they went to rehab and came back wise, snacks that trick the tongue and pay the body. If you want the cheat code, it's boring on purpose. Calories that count, protein that fills, swaps that don't feel like punishment. He didn't invent it. He's just not afraid to be seen practicing it. The man is still a musician first, and the stage is still where he metabolizes the hardest truths. But his press run has done something sneakier. It's repositioned country star Jelly Roll as country star who treats his health like a headliner. The People features, the morning show chef segments, the gym talk, it's all supporting cast for a plot that used to be reserved for January 1st and broken promises. Now it's August. Now it's seasonal. Now it's just life. There are, of course, hecklers. There always are. The internet has a graduate degree in reminding big men that they are big. Jelly Roll's response, especially in 2025, has not been to clap back so much as to keep showing up in frame. Not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove himself right. He's even found empathy for his younger self in the process. That overweight kid who learned to be funny before he learned to breathe right on stairs. He doesn't erase him. He shakes his hand and says, "Thanks for getting us here." So what does same size as middle school mean when it's you saying it in your bathroom at 6:37 a.m., the day before you fly to a city where craft services will try you? It can mean you're allowed to feel a little shy about liking your reflection for the first time in a while. It can mean your liver is getting a quieter life, and your heart gets to work less hard for the same distance. It can mean your daughter sees you tying your shoes without the dramatic exhale and thinks you look younger, which is a miracle no camera can fake. It can also mean you honor the weird, stubborn fact that you used to forego doctor visits because denial felt warmer than a waiting room. And now you've learned that courage sometimes wears paper gowns. The roller coaster isn't over. They'll have weeks where travel and press and a busted night's sleep make the gym feel like a rumor. He'll have mornings where the mirror mocks and nights where the fridge hums at him like a dare. He said as much. This is not a montage. It is maintenance. But middle school is a reasonable ghost. It's allowed to haunt you when the haunting says, look what you carried and look what you put down. One last thing about the delivery vow. It wasn't about spectacle or look at me. It was a bookmark. Public accountability on a date circled in neon. Music fans and wrestling fans share one sacred instinct. We keep each other honest about the moments that matter. Jelly Roll inviting both worlds to watch him hit a number isn't self-flagellation. It's a group prayer disguised as sports entertainment. The weigh-in is private. The meaning isn't. In a few months, when he sits for another interview and someone asks if he kept it off, don't be surprised if he shrugs and tells a story about a Tuesday, about a bus call, about walking laps in a parking lot behind an arena while the crew snakes cable and the sky tries in the evening, about how the world is a little kinder when your knees don't argue with stairs, about how he is happier, not because he's smaller, but because the distance between the man he's singing about and the man who sings is shorter than it used to be. And if he laughs again, soft, private, surprised, it'll be because sometimes the body actually does what you ask after a lifetime of hearing you threaten it. It'll be because he looked at a blinking number and felt an 8th grader high-five him from 3 decades away. It'll be because middle school is no longer a wound or a punchline. It's a measurement. It's a waypoint. It's proof. The scale won't sing about the rest. The way his wife looks at him like he built a new room onto their future. The way fans send him photos of their sneakers after a first mile, and he texts back proud of you like a coach who knows your name. The way a rib feels when it tastes like indulgence but lives like a good decision. The way his daughter will someday say, my dad decided something, and then he did it. And no trophy in his house will shine brighter than that sentence. Numbers fade, habits stack, pride quiets, joy gets loud. And when Jelly Roll jokes that he's the same size he was back when gym class felt like a gauntlet, don't hear a punchline. Hear a man cashing a check he wrote to himself when the odds were longer, the breath was shorter, and the scale seemed like a judge instead of a mirror. He's not finished. That's the point. The finish line isn't the number. It's the afternoon you realize you feel like making plans. It's the morning you put both feet on the floor and the day doesn't feel like a hill. It's an arena full of strangers warring while you carry 30 less years and twice as much grace. Under 300 for the first time since middle school. A promise said out loud and then kept in private, minute by minute, mile by mile, meal by meal. The story reads like a comeback. He's writing it like a life.